Hello, everyone. This is Sharon Mistretta, and this is a brief flipped lesson lecture on acceptable use policies as part of our study of one-to-one devices. This is a sample acceptable use policy that I found on a website called Scribd, which is a website that I can access various books and also documents such as this. And Burlington High School is a real high school. They contributed their acceptable use policy to the Scribd database. So this is Burlington High School that you're looking at right now. An acceptable use policy is necessary. And from the beginning of the year, you set the tone and the standards and the expectations for using technology in a school, which includes one-to-one devices such as iPads on iPad carts, such as laptops on laptop carts, such as desktops, or any other technology that is being used as part of the collection of technology that a school owns and that teachers deploy. So, of course, we have a mission statement of the school. You have the typical expectations for student learning, which are standard in any school setting. This happens to be high school. You have the responsible citizenship paragraph, and this has to do with being a digital citizen and how to protect yourself. For a student that's reading this, for a parent that's also going to be reading this, and you're going to see at the end there are signature blocks that are for parents and for students that they have read and understand the content. So the online world of the internet is a very dangerous area, yet it is also very fruitful in terms of the what's called rhizomatic education. A rhizome, for the science teachers, we know that that is a root system that travels underground and pops up, and it takes its own course. So that's rhizomatic is a connectivist theory of learning, that you are following the thread of what you want to learn. And this is what the internet provides us to do. So it is very fruitful in our learning. It's also something that we have to use with caution. So this is where you have your responsible citizenship. Also, it gives advice on a digital footprint in terms of not sending any personal information, to protect passwords and not share them. And it goes into online etiquette. Blogging and podcasting is, I use that in my own lesson plans. So I do have certain standards that I remind students about blogging, that you're not answering the person, you're answering the idea. And you might argue the idea, but you would never attack the person that is posting it. Careful reminders of plagiarism, proxies that are very prevalent that the students know, and they can navigate to a proxy and then get past your hopefully well installed and well maintained internet filter in a school. The internet filter filters out very bad websites that students do get into. So just understand that. I worked in a school that did not have a filter, and I insisted on one, and the students, certain students, were on porn sites. So this happens. This was a grammar school. So please understand that. We are not to take pictures without permission. So that is something that is covered in this agreement. And this is something that you need to address, because pictures are taken and shared and they're not necessarily appropriate. So this is establishing the school standards, and hopefully these standards will trickle to the student's private life outside of school. Now, here we have our expectation of classroom expectations. So the principal placed their phone number here, taking ownership of this whole acceptable use policy. Here you have a student signature and date. And this is signed every year. This is not once a time in high school. This is every year. Now, this is one thing that I had to enforce in a school, a high school setting. So I'm aware that if the child breaks the agreement, then they are being held liable for that. Also, the iPad damage. This happens. I did have a student who borrowed a tablet to take on a vacation to purportedly read an assignment, put it in the suitcase, and it came back crushed. So I let the administration take care of how much of this particular policy, part of the policy they wanted to enforce in terms of getting compensation, cost for replacing the damaged or destroyed or lost iPad. I took it to my insurance carrier, and we did have insurance on the device, and the device was replaced. But it's up to the administration as to whether they want to collect these funds from the parent. So here is where they sign this particular part of the agreement. So this is just something that I wanted to share with you. I'm going to be posting this PDF on our wiki so that you can access it and use it to modify it to whatever acceptable use policy. If you do not have one, I would strongly suggest that you meet with your technology team, meet with your administration, and iron out what it is that you're going to put in your acceptable use policy. Thanks.